Bees News. Welcome to Bees News. Today, we are talking about the importance of bees and pollination for the life in our planet. For this, we will present A. What science says about bees for the life in the earth. B. Colombian environmental law and bees. C. Environmental business and responsibility. D. What we can do for save the bees.
Bees are an important part of the natural environment, but sometimes we take the for granted. Maybe it's because we don't realize how important they really are. That's an easy question, yes, but simply bees pollinate our plant, which means they carry pollen between plants of different sex to fertilize them, or even between different parts of the same plant when plants reproduce this event. Plant survives by preventing and improving. Australian native bees don't store nectar and therefore they generally don't produce honey, at least don't in ample amounts. But European honey bees were introduced into Australia about 200 years ago. For that is scarce reason to produce honey, unfortunately, to European honeybees. Steal food from native birds and animals and take over their homes, but they do pollinate some of our crops and many of our native plants. The family native bees pollinate native plants, many of which can be pollinated by introduced bees. Some flowers need vibration to release pollen, which many of our native bees can do. These called buzz pollinate native bees can even pollinate some introduced plant species. There are some exceptions, but generally the answer is not. Native bees tend to lie along in wood gaps between rocks, the stems of some plants and homes. They have dug for themselves underground. This is different from European honey. Bees wing live in ropes with thousands of worker bees ruled by a queen. Surprisingly, a honey bees probably only produce a 12 on a teaspoon of honey in its whole life, so if you do the make, it would take approximately 12 of 2 bees to create 500 grams of honey.
Now, we know the importance of the bees for the environment. So, let's talk a little bit about Colombian environmental law and bees. The Colombian Ministry of Environment created action plans for the conservation of species and ecosystems, which are indispensable tools for biodiversity conservation. These plans define conservation priorities, establish guidelines and goals for action that are critical to achieve and monitor progress in order to adjust practices appropriately. A conservation action plan is a roadmap to direct efforts and organize management to achieve adequate results. These documents include diagnostic phases and an action plan that reflect the challenges to be met in situ and ex situ conservation, education and sustainable use, among others. Each of the conservation plans or program, depending on the knowledge and number of species found within the taxonomic group, has been approached on the some case at the species level or at the level of broader groups such as families or orders.
Monsanto's global with killer harms honeybees research find. Glyphosate, the mass used pesticides, ever damages the good bacteria in honeybees, making them more prone to deadly infection. Previous studies have shown that pesticides have as neonicotinoids cause harms to bees, whose pollinate vital to about 3/4 of all food crops glyphosate manufactured by Monsanto targets an enzyme only found in plants and bacteria. However, the new studies show that glyphosate damages the microbiota that honey bees need to grow and to fight off pathogens. The finding show glyphosate, the most used agricultural chemical ever, may be contributed to the global decline in bees along with the loss of habitat.
What we can do for save the bees? Here are some options so you can too help with the cows. Go chemical free for bees. Synthetic pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides, and neonicotinoids are harmful for bees. Avoid treating your garden and green space with synthetics. Instead, use organic products or natural solutions. One of the largest threats to bees is a lack of safe habitat where they can build homes and find variety of nutritious food sources. By planting a bee garden, you can create a habitat corridor with plants that are rich in pollen and nectar. You don't need a ton of space to grow bee-friendly plants. Gardens can be established across yards and in window boxes, flower pots, and planters. Local beekeepers work hard to nurture their bees and the local community. The easiest way to show your appreciation is to buy locally made honey and beeswax products. Many beekeepers use products from their hives to create soaps, lotions, and beeswax candles. Plus, local honey is not only delicious, it is made from local flora and may help with seasonal allergies. You can also give time, resources, and monetary donations to local beekeeping societies and environmental groups to help their programs grow.
Bienvenidos a la sección de entrevista de The Biz News. Hoy tenemos de invitada a María Alejandra. María Alejandra es una estudiante de séptimo semestre de Derecho que nos va a estar acompañando el día de hoy respondiendo las preguntas. Muy buenos días, María Alejandra, ¿cómo estás?
Buenos días, Evelyn.
Alejandra, voy a hacerte dos preguntas. La primera es, ¿tú qué opinas acerca o cuál crees que es la importancia de las abejas en el medio ambiente?
Que son las que intervienen para que se lleve a cabo el ciclo natural de las plantas, ya que pues más que tomar el néctar de las flores, ellas ayudan a polinizar el resto de las plantas, lo que permite que siga su ciclo y que creen oxígeno.
Ok, muy bien. Bueno, es evidente que pues en el mundo el cuidado del medio ambiente no ha sido prioridad para todas las personas. Tú como estudiante de Derecho, ¿qué crees que podrían hacer los estados para mitigar este daño hacia el medio ambiente?
Hacer nuevas políticas de desarrollo sostenible en el que se priorice el cuidado del ambiente, ya que si bien el avance tecnológico pues es muy importante tener el cuidado del ambiente, porque si no tenemos cuidado con el ambiente no habrá recursos para realizar nada y no tendremos un mundo donde vivir.
Bueno, María Alejandra, te agradezco mucho por tu colaboración el día de hoy y fue un gusto tenerte aquí.
Igualmente, muchas gracias.
That was all for today. And remember, ending the environment is the fastest way to end society.